Someone near you yawns right now. You feel it building in your jaw before you even decide to do it. Your eyes water. Your mouth stretches open. You didn't choose this. But the real answer for why this happens is far stranger than tiredness. It has almost nothing to do with sleep. It has almost nothing to do with boredom either. What's actually happening is your brain detecting a signal from another person's body and copying it automatically before your conscious mind even catches up. Scientists call this contagious yawning, and it turns out to be one of the oldest, strangest forms of communication your species ever developed. Start with the obvious question. Why would a species evolve to copy something as useless as a yawn? For decades, researchers assumed yawning was simply your body asking for more oxygen. Low oxygen, big yawn, brain gets its air. It felt intuitive. It was also wrong. In the early 2010s, psychologist Andrew Gallup ran a series of experiments testing yawning against oxygen levels directly. He had participants breathe pure oxygen before watching videos of people yawning. If the oxygen theory held up, breathing extra oxygen should have reduced their urge to yawn. It didn't change a thing. People yawned just as much. Something else was driving it. Gallup's later research pointed somewhere unexpected. Brain temperature. Your brain runs best within a narrow temperature window, and yawning appears to work like a built-in cooling system. The deep inhale draws cooler air in. The stretch of the jaw increases blood flow around the skull. In Gallup studies, people yawn significantly more often when a cold pack was pressed to their forehead versus a warm one. Yawning, it turns out, might be your brain's version of a fan kicking on when the system overheats. That explains why you yawn. It does not explain why you yawn when you watch someone else yawn. For that, the story shifts from thermoregulation to something much more social. In 2011, researcher Elizabeth Cerulli, along with a team studying contagious yawning across families, found something remarkable hiding inside a large twin study. Identical twins were far more likely to catch each other's yawns than non-identical twins, or strangers were. The closer the genetic and emotional bond, the stronger the contagion. Later work out of Italy, led by primatologist Elisabetta Pelaghi, found the same pattern in bonobos. Bonobos yawned back at group members they were closest to, far more than at distant acquaintances. The yawn wasn't random. It was tracking intimacy. This is where the story gets uncomfortable in a good way. If contagious yawning tracks closeness, then it isn't really about tiredness at all. It's about empathy. It's your nervous system silently asking, "Do I feel what you feel?" and answering yes before you've said a single word. There's a name for the wiring that might make this possible. Mirror neurons. In the 1990s, neuroscientist Giacomo Rizzolatti and his team in Parma, Italy, were studying motor neurons in macaque monkeys. They noticed something odd. Certain neurons fired not only when a monkey performed an action, but also when it simply watched another monkey perform that same action. The brain, it seemed, had cells built to simulate other creatures' movements internally, almost like a rehearsal space running in the background at all times. Mirror neurons became one of the most talked about discoveries in modern neuroscience. And while researchers still debate exactly how large a role they play in humans, the underlying idea reshaped how scientists think about empathy. You don't just observe another person's yawn. Some part of your brain quietly rehearses it, as if it were your own, which raises a question most people never think to ask. If contagious yawning is really an empathy signal, what happens in people whose empathic wiring develops differently? In 2007, researcher Atsushi Senju and colleagues studied contagious yawning in children with autism spectrum conditions. Compared to typically developing children, the autistic children in the study yawn contagiously far less often when shown videos of others yawning, even though they yawn just as much spontaneously on their own. The reflex to yawn was intact. The reflex to catch someone else's yawn, the social mirroring part, was muted. That single finding reframes the entire behavior. A yawn spreading across a room isn't just biology leaking out sideways. It's a quiet, involuntary head count of who your brain considers part of your circle. Now here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. This isn't unique to humans. Chimpanzees yawn when they watch videos of other chimps yawning. Dogs yawn when they watch their owners yawn. And studies led by researcher Teresa Romero found dogs were more likely to catch a yawn from a familiar human than from a stranger, echoing the exact same closeness pattern found in the twin studies. Even some birds show hints of behavioral contagion tied to social bonding, which means this reflex predates language. It predates tools. It may predate the earliest split between our ancestors and the other great apes. Long before your ancestors could say, "I understand how you feel," their bodies were already saying it for them, one involuntary yawn at a time. Picture an early hominin group resting in the shade, watching for predators in shifts. One individual's brain temperature rises slightly with fatigue. They yawn to cool it down. A nearby group member, tuned into that individual through millions of years of social bonding, mirrors it almost instantly. The yawn ripples outward. Within seconds, the whole resting group has synchronized, cooling their brains together, staying alert together, functioning as one linked unit instead of a scattering of individuals. That's not a coincidence. That's cohesion. A silent way of confirming, over and over, we are still one group. Which brings the story back to you, sitting wherever you're sitting right now. The next time a yawn moves through a room, watch it carefully. Notice who catches it and who doesn't. Notice how it tends to skip strangers and land on the people you actually feel close to. It isn't polite mimicry. It isn't exhaustion syncing up by accident. It's one of the oldest signals your species ever developed, still running quietly in the background of every conversation, every meeting, every quiet car ride with someone you love. You didn't choose to feel that yawn building in your jaw. Your ancestors' nervous systems made that decision for you, long before you were ever born, back when survival meant staying close enough to another mind to feel what it felt. So the next time someone near you yawns, and you feel your own jaw start to stretch open, know what's actually happening. Your brain isn't getting tired. It's getting closer.